And we are live. What is up, everybody? Aaron El Perro here with Noche UFC. And with me, a very, very special panel that will be together for most pay-per-views moving forward. We have in the chat Mr. Justin Villegas, of course, because it wouldn't be a chat without him. What up, Justin? And making his return, I warned everybody a few weeks ago, and he has returned after, I don't know, maybe a year or so out of the breakdown game, probably enjoying his life much more than all of us here on YouTube. But Lewis, if I have to introduce you to anybody here, they haven't been around very long. But Lewis Norton MMA, how you doing, my friend? And we got the whole panel here. What up, Gordo? We're just beginning here.
Perfect timing. Yeah,
yeah.
good man. Good.
Lewis,
Good.
welcome back to
It's just a shame to be back on shit cards.
Well, it's UFC in 2024, so that's what we
Yeah.
get to deal with at all times. But we find our spots and everything. But it's good to have you back, man. And it's 3 a.m. over in England, and you are up talking about 10 fights for Noche UFC. So honestly, yeah, Justin, obviously, Norton, my favorite England man. We're glad to have you back on. Welcome back, man. It's good to have you. Next up, coming off of I clean sweep the contender series this week, so I'll teach Lucky a thing or two about these prospects. After his 14-1 start, he is plummeting back down to earth here. How you doing, Lucky?
Yeah, pretty good, man. Good week last week, all in all. One on BFL, took a small under 1 unit loss on Octagon, and then one on UFC. So, yeah, feeling pretty good. Hopefully, we'll keep it going on this card, and yeah, let's get into it.
Yep, and we started with 4. We got 5 now, and making his return to his show. I believe his second time on here, and it's always welcome to make his return anytime. But very well known, well respected. We got Jewish Better even coming back onto the show. I didn't know he's still even subscribed to this. He's unfollowed me many, many times on Twitter at this point. But Gordo comes on. He brings the heavy artillery here. How you doing, Gordo?
Heavy artillery. No, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me back. It is a fun card, so excited to break it down with you guys. I know we only have 10 fights, but still a 5-man panel. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm excited to hear what these sharp gentlemen have to say around me, and let's talk some fights. It should be fun. It should be a revolutionary experience in the sphere, so I'm excited to see how it actually turns out.
I can't wait for the vignettes. I'm a film guy, and just my 2 cents tonight, we had a show over on his channel, The Cosmic Countdown, if you want to check that out. We talk about our favorite 100 movies. Will the Noche UFC movie make your favorite 100 movies, 2 cents? And how are you?
Aaron El Perro. What is going on, man? Shout out to you, boys. I believe this is my first time on panel with Gordo Gamble, so shout out to you. Lucky and Lewis, definitely not my first time with you characters, so what's going on, boys? Shout out to the chat, man. Make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron. Yeah, we got a damn Noche UFC, and I'm very excited to talk about it. I got some greasy little bets, and it's just funny that that Lucky's, plummet to earth, as you said, is in direct correlation with me breaking my fucking cold streak. Like, I've been getting reverse swept on Contender Series every fucking week, and I finally got a win. So I don't know what kind of sign that is, but I hope it's a good one for me for Noche. But very happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, we shall see. And I know you watch Jewish Better. I know all the secret watchers out there, and that's okay. But we are not here to talk about Jewish Better. We are here to talk about UFC 306, Noche UFC. And we're starting from the bottom with Raul Rosa, Archie Lang here. We've got 5 people on the panel here. We're going to keep some of these fights a little more short than others. Raul Rosa, Archie Lang. My issue with Archie Lang is a lot of people's issues, I'm sure, with Archie Lang. It's the lack of activity pretty much at all times. I believe that he's topped 40 significant strikes in very few of his fights. And just overall, most likely here with Raul Rosa, he's going to have to show he can defend the takedowns. I think early on, I could see Rosa having some success. Wouldn't surprise me if he puts him away early. I don't have enough interest or faith in Archie Lang as the fight goes on that he's going to kind of show something here that is a little more, it's just going to kind of extend Raul Rosa in a way that I think will end up being a problem. But I'll take Raul Rosa here, and I think he just gets a decision. I have no interest in really playing this fight at all, but I'm not super sold on Raul, but it doesn't really take a lot with Archie Lang. I think he's kind of gradually stepping up his level of competition appropriately here. So I see a decision for Raul. Lewis, I started you in right off the bat here. What are your thoughts on Raul Rosa so far in his UFC career? I don't think we've gotten to really break him down, so I'm curious your thoughts on this fight and if you think Archie Lang can pose some issues.
Yeah, I don't think we have spoken about him since I've kind of stopped doing this for the majority. But I think this is completely a gimme fight for Raul. I don't see any way Archie Lang kind of beats him. And especially the inactivity, he was quite active before 2020, but since then it's just on and off, on and off, on and off, and it's not consistent either. The performances, even when he has looked good, aren't convincing at all. Personally, I think Raul Rosas is just set up for any way he wants in this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like how Terrence McKinney kind of like shot onto the scene where he just, instant 1 minute, whatever he wants. I personally think he's going to take Archie Lang down, do something with that. But yeah, it's hard to bet against Raul in this one, to be honest. And the crowd's going to be with him as well.
Yeah. I we'll see. I mean, I will see with the crowd as these go, but definitely I think with Raul Rosa, he's going to be a crowd favorite here. So yeah, I mean, there's not a lot with this fight. I agree, but Lucky, do you have some thoughts on possible angle with the Raul Rosa Archie Lang curtain jerker?
Yeah, I mean, nobody gives a shit about the money line. Obviously, Rosas is going to win. If he wasn't likely to win, they wouldn't have booked this fight in the first place. But Aaron, you talked about the decision. I actually like the over 1.5 at plus money. I think everyone is kind of expecting like the insta sub. I don't know if it's going to be that simple. I mean, the guys that Rosas is finishing in the UFC, like Terrence Mitchell, 0-2, they let him go. Jay Parent, 0-3, he's gone. Ricky Tercios, I never thought he was that good. And I mean, even that was 8 seconds away from the over 1.5. Took Mondo Gutierrez to a decision on Contender Series.
Right.
He's not very good. Archie Lang, I don't think is very good either. But I don't know. I'm just not sold that Rosas is like a finishing machine. I don't think he's just going to come into the UFC and get every fight over with without breaking a sweat. This might be one where we see him extend a little bit, download a little bit more data about him. And, I think he could certainly grow into that type of a fighter. I'm just not sold that he is that right now. I think he just kind of looks like he is as a function of the competition. And, maybe I'm the only one. It certainly seems that way this week. But, yeah, he's one of the biggest stars on the card as well. I mean, wouldn't you think he'd be on the main card of the Noche UFC Mexico Independence Day? And he was on the main card of a Pereira versus Adesanya pay-per-view. And, Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osborne is on the main card, not for the name value. It's because I think they think it's going to be a finish and an exciting one. Same for Ribovic and Zellhuber. None of those names are bigger than Rosas. So I think the UFC thinks maybe this one could extend a little bit, not be his most electric performance ever. Kind of similar reason, I think, why they put Kat versus Makayev not on the main card of 304. So, yeah, man, I mean, I'm just not sold. This is going to be the insta sub everyone thinks it is. I'm going to go contrarian. I think Archie Lang might be able to survive for 7.5 minutes, certainly at better than a 50% clip. So
yeah,
price less than that. I like the over. I took a plus 110.
Yeah, no, I don't dislike that at all. Gordo, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's not a fight I'm really going to debate you guys too much on this one. You have yourselves the 19-year-old Mexican prospect on the Mexican UFC Noche card as a massive favorite. And as Lucky alluded to, this is a spot where they expect him to win. They want him to win for marketing purposes. He's out here yelling chihuihuis in a high-pitched voice, trying to attract younger generations as well. The guy's a star. The guy's out here being a big draw, and not only because of his youth, but also because of his aggressive style. I don't mind the contrarian play on going over here, but this is a spot where I do expect him to have success. Right? He averages 4.39 takedowns per 15 minutes. Archie Lang's the same guy who's taken down 3 times by Jay Perrin, 4 times by Johnny Munoz. Like the guy is susceptible to be taken down. A guy susceptible to put in precarious situations, but we have ourselves a large favorite. I'm not going to go out there and give you guys a minus 800. It's like, try to find some value with it. I don't mind the way Lucky went with it. I could potentially see an opportunity for Rosas going out there and establishing top control, reigning in ground and pound at plus 500 instead of a submission, but I'm not going to get cute with it. I think it's a spot where we have a clear favorite set up for success. I'll play him on DraftKings and I'll move on.
Well said. And 2 cents bring us home on the first fight of the night.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up quick, man. Like Lucky hit the nail on the head. They didn't put Rosas Jr. the first fight on the card for him to lose. Like I think, dude, and also like that's why I'm not betting it. Like I kind of think it could be a decision too. So I'm not going to try and get cute with like a method of victory because I kind of think that's the only way to bet Rosas. So yeah, it's a pass for me, but I think he cleans a Ricci laying up.
Yep. Well said. Well said. And yeah, we'll just move on. Minus 850 plus 575 here on this one. And it's not part of the Zhongli, needless to say. But yeah, we'll move on. And this is what I kind of appreciate about the panel tonight is everybody just kind of bringing their angles to it. And yeah, I really do appreciate that we can kind of move forward with Raul Rosa and Archie Lang after less than 10 minutes. So moving on to Edgar Chariz versus Joshua Van. I think this is got to potentially be one of the better fights of the night for sure. I think both flyweight fights are going to be very exciting and maybe not the most technical of fights, but I think they'll be very action packed here. The thing I don't like about Chirez is facing Daniel Lacerda for the last year and a half. I don't know how much that helps you sharpen your overall MMA game here with Joshua Van. I do think a big, issue in his game I thought was going to be the submissions coming into the UFC and then that knockout after Charles Johnson and then coming back so quickly. I'm a little concerned there about the durability, about the reaction to shots. I could definitely see a club and sub here for Edgar in this spot. I think it's going to be a very highly intense fight. I see a finish here, which is not something I get super behind in a ton of flyweight fights, but I do think this is going to be a really good fight. And I could see Joshua Van pulling off the upset. And my just biggest concern is the quick turnaround from that brutal knockout. And it's just for that, I'm going to edge towards the favorite in Chirez here. And I'm going to have him get that club and sub at some point. I'm not super confident in the jiu-jitsu of Van either. He has been submitted earlier in his career as well. And I just think that Van's rushing back a little too quick here, but I'm not rushing to the window for Chirez at this chalk price either. So it's kind of a tough spot, but I think the club and sub happens somewhere in this fight. So I could see it going into the second, third round, but I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. So I'm excited for this one, Bob. I hate Chirez by submission. Lucky.
Yes, Chirez is a guy we saw lose to Clayton Carpenter on the Contender Series. Debuted against Tyra. I mean, tough luck with that one. Sincerely, good job lasting 15 minutes. Hats off to you. Beat Daniel Lacerda, then had to beat him a second time. Finally got him out of the UFC. Cheers. I'm just not that high on Chirez, to be honest. I feel like he's a guy with good finishing upside, good finishing instincts, but not like a whole lot else for me. But I think that's pretty encouraging in this matchup and could be pretty potent here because Joshua Van, as you mentioned, was KO'd very recently. Literally a month ago. And, if you listen to me talk about fights, I hate that kind of thing. I don't like it if it's like even 6 or 8 months after 1 month ago. I mean, that can't be good. In a vacuum, I think Van is the better fighter. I don't think Chirez is all that good. But if you're backing Van here, you got to be concerned about, I guess, his sturdiness on a short turnaround. So, as a pure pick, I guess give me Van because I think he's the better MMA fighter. I think he's better on offense and defense in the striking. He's shown, solid enough takedown defense, but he's going to give himself every chance to lose given the circumstances here. So, I can't imagine you'd feel good about backing that with any money.
Yeah, I love this number. The fight doesn't go to distance for plus 135 from the 0-6 Stubborn Mick. I love that play there. I do see a finish either side. Gordo, how you feel about this one?
I think this is a fun one. I think every time you have a guy like Joshua Van in a car, when he goes out there averaging 8.55 strikes landed per minute, it's going to bring a good fight. He's got good output. He's a young fighter as well, only 22 years old. The guy's fun. And I think in a overall, if you take a step back, I think he's a fighter who projects to do better long-term. I think he'd have a better career. But this matchup seems really interesting for me. Not only is he coming in on short notice, but he is bet up to be a pretty hefty favorite, but he's finally giving Edgar Chirez the fight he wants. I don't think Chirez is necessarily a world beater, but he has historically been either put on his back or put in precarious situations. And he's never been a guy who's been knocked out. Yes, he averages less strikes per minutes, but he is a primary striker at heart. He does want to go out there and land with fight and intention. And a fighter in Joshua Van, who not only is coming off that knockout, but also typically gives up the first round while getting his reads, hasn't really been tested too much on the ground, I think has way too many holes to be a minus 230 favorite, right? So I think if you said gun to your head, who do you project to do better long-term? Who do you project to win this fight? Probably go with Van, but I think there's too many things on the Chira side. I think not only can he go out there, press forward, potentially win that first round with some striking, but compete in the striking enough to make him competitive, potentially threaten takedowns as well, and be the Mexican fighter in a close fight that goes to judges. It could be a fight that I think he could have some value to that plus 200 price tag. So if Van gets parlayed up, I may take a shot on Chirez, but I think it's a very intriguing fight. I don't mind your shots on the unders, but personally, if I was going to play anything, it'd be dog or pass here.
Yeah. No, I honestly had not paid attention to this money line that closely and did not realize it was this inflated. That's pretty insane to me. 2 cents.
Yeah, y'all pretty much covered it, boys. I think Van tools him up, but yeah, the quick turnaround kind of keeps me off betting him. I don't know, man. Chirez is really fucking tough, but Van, I feel like he is coming back soon to kind of prove a point. Like, I almost fucking had Charles Johnson. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not going to bet it, but I wouldn't actually be surprised if Van got him out of there. But that's kind of why I'm not touching anything. Just pass here. But yeah, y'all had it.
All right. And Lewis, talk me into putting Chirez as the beginning of the Zhang Li, because I'd love to put a plus 200 in the Zhang Li.
Yeah, I think if he hadn't been finished in the last month or two, I think you'd just be back in Van. Everyone would be like, yeah, tick, done. He's better all round. It just makes more sense. But it just worries me so much that they just throw him straight back in there. From a betting perspective, I'm staying clear. Like, I wouldn't touch this fight. But I don't mind Chirez on this just through decision work. No, like Van in a one-on-one stand-up fight, you'd back Van still, even with a knockout loss, in my opinion. I don't think the output is there from Chirez as much as Van from what I've seen, but there's too many. I think Gordo said it. There's so many holes in Van's game where we haven't seen. He's very young. He's gonna have a good career, I think, but at this level, he hasn't shown me anything that he could just dispatch Chirez no problem. And if he gets touched or if he gets hit, I am a little bit worried, because we've seen it for so many years. Someone being knocked out, come back, then they face another one, and it just spirals down. So yeah. I'm staying clear, but if I was to put anything, it'd be on Chirez.
Yeah, plus 195, minus 240 to Van here. Yeah, I think Van is good. I think he's gotten a little bit overrated because of the exciting fighting style. I still have questions about his jiu-jitsu game overall, and so definitely tempted to bet the dog there, but not quite getting there on the bet yet. Yasmin Jauregui versus Caitlin Souza here. Caitlin Souza, I went into the tape really, really wanting to, side with the Caitlin Souza side here. Yasmin is very dependent on the decision, it appears, and seems to be very good athletically, very good at mixing up the game much more than Caitlin, I would say. But yeah, this is just a fight I don't really want anything to do with. I'm not really intrigued from a entertainment perspective either. I just think this is going to be kind of Yasmin being able to use her physical advantages here, maybe prove she can finally get a finish, but I don't know. I mean, Caitlin Souza has decent power, but so far in the UFC, I'm not super impressed from her. So for me, it's Yasmin, and I hope she can prove she can get something besides a decision here, because I'm not really sold on her finishing skills as of now. So Gordo, give me some numbers that make me more excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm not going to go out here and be too excited about this matchup. I think once again, it is a Mexican prospect going out there, getting a winnable matchup to succeed on this card. And I don't want to be too cliche about it, but I do think that's the way they're going for someone like Jauregui, another larger favorite, someone who does have a pretty well-rounded skill set. I think, as you mentioned, she's a very physical athlete. She has very good striking metrics as well, 6.26 strikes landed per minute, but also a fighter who does have a competent ground game. I know Souza had some success on the ground in the past, but also someone who can submit in diverse areas. I just think Jauregui Yorgi is just the better athlete, the better striker on the feet, minute winning wise, and a girl who I do think has her bases covered here in this matchup. Now, is Yorgi someone who I think is going to be perfect long term? Definitely not. I mean, she was clipped earlier by Gomez. I'm not going to put too much stock into that. But I think when we compare to someone like Souza, I don't see Souza winning the minutes on the feet. I do not see Souza going out there, taking her down, getting the dominant position and finishing her. So we're left with Yorgi not only winning the optics on the feet with her striking, but having the opportunity to go out there, land more volume, just be the better overall optics girl, and potentially win this fight. Now, does a finish come along with it? I'm not too inclined to say so, but I do think it's a spot where Yorgi's able to have more success. She is my pick to win, line wide as it is, but someone who I do see being a very popular parlay option this week.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting 15 minutes and 3 commercials with this fight for sure. 2 cents. Is the coin coming out? We haven't seen the coin in a while.
Man, boys, this is the kind of card where I would love to just bust the coin out for the boys and like just have a fucking coin extravaganza here, but I can't do it, man. Like this is the 3rd fight on the card, and it's like they're not setting it up for fucking Ketlin Souza. So yeah, I think Gordo nailed it. Like the better optics are going to come from Yargi. She's 25. Like yeah, she can get like. She can get put out of there. She can gas, but I don't think Souza's the one to do that. I don't think she's like has the one punch power that Gomez does. And like, I just think Yargi's going to have the cleaner boxing, and, you know, hopefully we see some wrestling from her and probably a decision, but yeah, give me the Mexican chick here.
Fair enough. And
I do have her parlayed. I will go ahead and put that be on the record. So if it goes sideways, you know, I'll be the fucking cautionary tale, but yeah. I put her in a 3-legger to take a little of the sting off. It was like -500, but yeah, she probably wins.
God bless you. Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much I can add on top of this. It's kind of a stale fight in my head. There's not much of a skill set to kind of break down with each individual. My whole thing is Yasmin is better. It's just going to be literally a decision fight to me. I don't see it going any other way. I don't see anything that I've seen in either skill set to produce a finish when both fighters fight similarly, but just at lower level than each other. Like it's made for Yasmin in this fight. There's a reason she's on the card. I mean, there's not much to add to it, to be honest. Yeah.
Lucky. You get the lucky cleanup spot with Yasmin and Caitlin here. What you got?
Yeah, I completely agree with Norton, to be honest. I'm not going to waste any more time talking about it. I think Jauregui is just better than her. I mean, it's certainly priced a lot more aggressively than what I think is warranted, but yeah, I think she wins.
Yeah,
decently, comfortably.
Yeah, -500 plus 380. Yeah, we'll move on with this one. Hopefully, we see a finish in it, but yeah, we shall see. Next fight, very, very good fight. Potentially another one of the fights of the night: Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. That first round is going to be, I think, very, very telling of this fight. I think if you're on the Ignacio side, I don't know why you're betting this pre-fight necessarily, because you might as well just if Ignacio goes out, wins wire to wire, or puts him away in round 1, oh well, you live with it. If Manuel comes out and kind of fights as he does, he's going to win round 1. And Ignacio has shown that he's never kind of seen the strike. He's not willing to eat with his entire face. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up kind of going down early and possibly nearly being finished or being finished, in my opinion. I am taking Manuel Torres in this spot. I do think he finishes him in round 1 as well. Ignacio just takes way too much damage for my taste. And I think that Torres is going to fight him very aggressively in me. I don't think it gets out of round 1. If it does get out of round 1, I am terrified with my Manuel Torres bet. I bet Torres a few weeks ago at plus 110, and I just kind of lived with it at that. I know that it's kind of shifted towards to a near pick 'em. Sometimes Torres is a favorite, but I get Ignacio has a lot of skills as well. I've been an Ignacio fader myself. I bet Macdesi back in the day. Like, I mean, I've hit a few spots against Ignacio. He has improved, but still, he's always that big tough guy, as 2 Cents says, and I do think that chin getting tested by the strikes of Torres could end up putting him away. But after round 1, I'm pretty much ripping up my ticket, possibly. So, we'll see here. Maybe Torres has improved the cardio, but I'm taking Torres round 1 KO. 2 cents.
I mean, you hit the nail on the head again, brother. You know, Torres, he's very, very fucking dangerous. But I think it's kind of binary. Like, I think Torres is either going to get him up out of there early. If he doesn't, man, you know, Ignacio Bahamondes will get in there and be a big tough guy. And he's not, like, he's not like, I don't think he's like Moda. Like, Moda's like, he's kind of a glass cannon, and Ignacio has shown that he can he'll take a punch, but he can take it too. He could get knocked out, but I actually kind of think he just gets busted up a little bit. And I love the angle of live betting it. I'm too pussy to bet Bahamondes, but I'm actually going to pick him. I think he's the better point fighter. He's going to have a little bit of a reach advantage, and I think he has to weather a storm, but I think he just tunes Manuel Torres up for the rest of it. But I can't bet Ignacio, 1, because he could get knocked out, and 2, because if it goes to the cards and like he does not wear punishment well, I could absolutely see them kind of like robbing him because Torres is like a popular Mexican prospect. But give me Bahamondes for the upset here. No bet though.
Oh man, I can see the Twitter big boys right now busting out those Torres 0.1 unit bet decisions and just being like, I told you Torres could win a decision. I can see that right now, but nah. Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 cents hit the nail on the head there, where Ignacio is a better point fighter. I completely agree with that. Like, managing that distance and keeping that length he has is so critical to winning this fight, in my opinion. He just needs, his coach and his corner should be saying, stay the fuck away from him for 5 minutes. That's what they should be saying. Let him just, no, of course they won't, because he's just going to stand in the center and swing. But I put a lot of stake on Manuel Torres now. As someone from this side of the pond, Chris Duncan is no fucking joke either. And he just took him down and strangled him so fast. It was so impressive. I've been to a cage fight where I saw Chris Duncan get absolutely totaled, right? The whole crowd rushed the cage. He's been in environments like that where it's just crazy, right? The dude is a monster. He's enormous as well. He's a huge guy. Now, Bahamondes is not small or anything, but it's like the frame stature of these guys. These are proper full-on ass men. And he's making them light work. So I don't see how Bahamondes has the technique. Yes, he has the technique to win. He's got incredible explosivity, is that the word? To kind of just create nothing and something out of nothing, which is great. But in a betting condition or in an actual fight to break down, it's very hard to back, on that kind of moment for 15 minutes. I would put more into the skill set of Manuel over Ignacio, and 2 cents is brave to pick him. I would back. I'm a coward, so I'm going to go with Manuel on this. I think it will do it in 1 because Ignacio gets hit so much. One of those is just going to drop him, and when he does, he's going to get his neck, and that's it for me.
Okay.
You show Manuel your neck.
Torres might sub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, Torres is a finishing machine. He's really fun. Bahamondes is, a highly touted guy, or at least I thought he was until this week. People were, in love with this guy. And now he's a dog to Torres. He was over -200 in his last 4 fights, including against Ludovic Klein. And, he's got 5 inches of height, 2 inches of reach. He's got more UFC experience. He's slightly younger. I mean, with all that considered on paper, I'm just, I'm a little bit surprised. Obviously on the eye test, like, I get it. But I think it's a close fight. It's lined closely. And listen, I love Torres. I think he's pure entertainment. I probably wouldn't bet him at chalk in this matchup personally. I wouldn't bet anybody with a minus in this matchup, I don't think. I mean, it's a pass fight for me. I feel like whoever's at the plus money would probably be the side for me. So, I'll join 2 cents and I'll pick Bahamondes in this one.
Fair enough. I got Torres at plus 102, so I have an approved Lucky Locks bet then. Gordo.
Yeah, you got the plus money on it. There you go. And I think that having plus money either side, you can make a very valid case for either side of this matchup. Manuel Torres is the fun side of this matchup. 8.14 strikes landed per minute. He goes forward. Obviously, that's not a pace that is extremely sustainable. We haven't really seen him tested or extended too often, but he's got these highlight reel knockouts. He has the physicality. He has the athleticism. He has all the makings to be a very solid fighter early on, and he's fun to watch. And I think that because of that, he's able to go out there. I have had some decent success betting the guy, and I feel like I've gotten lucky because he's yet to really see that second or third round. He's yet to really be extended, and I feel like in those cases where he may have been, well, I could be down a bit of money there. So I think you look at a guy in Ignacio Bahamondes, he has all the tools to have success here. I mean, if he fights to the best of his abilities, and obviously horrible comparisons, so don't get on me too much, but it could look a lot like the Volkov-Pavlovich fight, where you have this explosive guy in front of him in Torres who wants to blitz forward, and if Bagmazov fights to the best of his abilities, he can keep him at range. He does have the reach. He does have the ability to point fight and be the better optics winner if he's able to keep him off of him. But that's not really how Bahamondes fights. He doesn't really go out there and want to point fight like a guy like Volkov. He wants to go in there and exchange, and I do think it makes it for a bit of a sketchier situation. I ended up actually picking Bahamondes as well. I think I'm a bit more bullish than you two. I think you guys are kind of just picking him because of the underdog and because you see him have an opportunity. I do think Bahamondes can survive. Yes, he gets hurt, but I do think he has good recoverability. I think he pushes forward, and I do think his optics serve him well in those later rounds. I'm willing to take a shot on a guy who's proven for 15 minutes, Bahamondes, with his longer frame, which with his 85% takedown defense, with his ability to stay on the outside, and hope he fights the best of his abilities. Could look hindsight dangerous. I honestly agree with you guys that the live entry might be better, but I do think Bahamondes is getting a little bit of flack here, and if the line continues to climb, I might take a shot on him, because although Torres is extremely dangerous early on, there still are so many questions about him.
Yeah. Well,
that line really has seesaw too. Sorry, Aaron, not to cut you off, but like I was thinking about betting Bahamondes the other day. I think it got up to like plus 114, and then like in a matter of hours, it just like dropped back down to like plus 100, went back up to plus 105. So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, I think I think this is a fight where both sides really like their side if they are betting it, and if you're not, you're kind of stuck in between, being like, yeah, both these guys could definitely. It's a good fight. Looking forward to seeing it. 118 to Torres, minus 102 currently on Bahamondes. Our featured prelim at 140 pounds, probably by the time it happens, 142 pounds, maybe, or one of them makes weight. Maybe they both make weight if that's the case. Irene Aldana, Norma Dumont. Before I really looked into this one, I was all about Irene Aldana in this fight. I was just like, this is just for sure. She's going to have the much crisper, straighter shots and better boxer. But that's like all Irene Aldana seems to be doing is the boxing. And that Carol Rosa fight really was alarming. I get she won the fight, but I mean, I think she took 30 leg kicks in round one. And first thing I did with Norma Dumont was I decided to watch and say, does she throw leg kicks? And turns out she throws very heavy leg kicks. That's unfortunate for Irene Aldana here. I think that it kind of is that simple for me. Norma Dumont throws leg kicks and throws them quite often. I think that this fight will most likely go to decision. It will most likely be on the feet. If one of these fighters is able to mix it up, it is Norma Dumont as well. So the BMF fighter, the better MMA fighter in this spot is Norma Dumont as well. So I have a plus 120 or 110 Irene Aldana that I bet before looking into it. And that's why you don't bet before looking into fights, because now I kind of regret it. But I have the bet, but I'm picking Norma Dumont by decision here. I do have a bet on Aldana that I'm regretting, though. Lewis, you get to again. I'm starting to giving you another great one to lead off here. Norma Dumont.
Hey, they're all good. It's an amazing card, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, I pretty much agree with you, to be honest. That so the thing is, how much status do you put in Norma's wins versus Irene's wins? I think beating Jermaine Durand to me, yes, it's not the same Jermaine as yesteryear at all, like not even close. No. But it's still a fight this year. And it's still a fight against a very high-level striker. It's still a chess match that she won, very well. She's got pretty good resume, but it's just a decision machine. And these are the fights I get really pissed off with, because it just seems like none of these fighters ever want to try and put the gas down and just actually go for it. But Irene does a little bit every now and then. And that's what I'm looking for. I think the aggressor will be Aldana in this fight, but I think Norma's just going to be technically so much better. And as you said, she mixes it up better, which in MMA always works well. So for me, I would pick Norma, but I'm betting wise, I'm going to leave it with you guys. But yeah, from a tactical point of view and stylistic point of view, I think this is kind of made for Norma just to piece her up for 15 minutes. But if Aldana can crack, and that's the only thing. I'd never ever bet on people that just have one heavy shot, or she hits well to the body. She can move quite well, but Norma's just slick. I think Norma by decision.
Yeah, and we keep getting amazing money lines on Norma Dumont. All of her money lines are almost the same. Every fight, it's just like
Is she favorite in this one?
She's a pick'em here. It's straight pick'em.
Okay.
So -110 both sides. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one? Should I feel bad about my Irene Aldana bet that I made before looking into the fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna jump on the Dumont side as well. Aldana's getting up there, in fighting years at 36, but Dumont's 34th birthday is coming up around the corner, so she's no spring chicken either. I was kind of surprised to see that because it just feels like I just felt like she was a lot younger than that. But yeah, she's having a lot of success. She's won 4 in a row. Aldana bounced back with a win over Carajosa after losing a very non-competitive fight to Nunes, and then the fight before that, she was pretty much 2 minutes away from losing to Macy Chasson before landing an up kick to the liver from her back. Insane result. And whenever we talk about Aldana or Chasson, I'm never going to not take a moment to cope and seethe about losing that Chasson underdog bet that night due to that, absolute comedy skit. I just still can't believe that happened. But yeah, I'm sort of surprised Dumont was the underdog, not because I think she's like way better. I just kind of thought everyone else would think that. But I guess not. I guess there's some Aldana love out there, but I think Dumont probably is the side as the underdog for me. I think she's a little fresher, a little bit younger, a little less mileage. So yeah, I'm going to go with the Dumont side as well.
Yeah. I'm really regretting this bet. I do not advise blind betting. Gamble. Gordo's gamble. Gordo, go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm on the other side of lucky there. I got extremely lucky, no pun intended, to cash that ticket all done against Chasson. And I promised myself I would never go out there and bet her again. I feel like I've been punished recently by my horrible bets, by the way Aldana cashed that ticket. So I'd like some luck to come back here. Come on, I'll take it again. But no, this is not a fight that I have too much interest in betting for sure. I think when it comes down to a gun to the head pick, I tend to go with my grapplers. I am a primary DraftKings player, so I do like the girls who go out there and wrestle and score better on DraftKings. Because of that, I think the side is Dumont going out there to choose this weekend. Neither of their metrics really jump off on paper, and I think they're both very competent. I just think that the discrepancy in the grappling is larger than the discrepancy in the striking. So I'm gonna take a shot here on Dumont. The only thing really going against that is the, fight that's plus 300 to end inside the distance, going to decision, and then there being the Mexican fighter on the UFC Noche. Like, oh, what's going on there? There could be something like that, but I do think at the end of the day, I'm a guy who typically goes for the wrestlers, and when they look like they do from like Dumont on top, we'll take that as well.
Yeah, well said. So I might be hedging out of my bet with putting Norma in the Zhongli, which, if you're not familiar with the Zhongli, if you're a new fan here, Zhongli, 5 money lines together. We've hit it 7 times this year, almost hit 2 of the other ones. We're well into a plus with it. So maybe that's how we hedge it here. I know 2 cents has done that a few times. 2 cents, what's your thoughts on this scrap at bantamweight / featherweight / catchweight / whatever weight it's going to be at?
Well, my first thought is like, how do I not fucking flip the coin here? Because I know, first of all, that I want nothing to fucking do with it. It is, I wouldn't say it's like elite level, but it's a decently high level scrap, and that's usually doesn't fit the criteria of a coin flip. And I kind of already picked Norma yesterday. I'm going to stick with the Norma pick, but I can't bet her because it seems like everybody's on her, dude, and I feel like it's going to be a decision for Noche, dude. Aldana does crack. She could have the big moments here, dude. I don't know. Like, I don't think that's a terrible bet at all. Like, yeah, she's getting up there, but like, dude, Norma doesn't have the fucking best chin in the world. I mean, Megan fucking one-punched her. She got dropped by Carol Hosa, a common opponent there. So I'm staying way the fuck away from it. I guess I'll pick Norma. I'll stick with my pick, but it's kind of hard not to flip the coin here, and I don't hate that bet at all.
Yeah, it's a straight pick 'em here, and should be a decent enough fight. So weird that it's a feature prelim on a pay-per-view, but whatever. We'll move on to the main card, which starts out with Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osborne. Of course it does, because if you end up getting beat up on the feet by Denise Bondar for about 10 minutes, but survive it and get taken down by Bondar a bunch of times and scramble around in it, then you earn yourself a opener on Noche UFC. Of course, it makes sense against Ode Osborne, who just been on that real hot streak lately, losing 3 of his last 4 and getting finished by the submission in his last 2. So, how much do you believe in Ronaldo Rodriguez's BJJ game here against Ode Osborne, or do you believe Ode Osborne can, maybe crack Ronaldo Rodriguez? I know if this fight goes to decision, Dana White might just fire both of these guys. So I don't think that they can go 15 minutes and keep their jobs, to be honest with you. Someone has to die here. So is it the KO for Ode? Is it the sub for Ronaldo? I'm not going to bet it either way, to be honest with you here. But Ronaldo's just tough as nails, man. I think he's going to get bopped a few times, make some mistakes, and then end up taking over the fight in the 2nd and 3rd round and getting a 3rd round submission win to keep his job. Ronaldo Rodriguez by submission, round 3. Let's see. We're on Lucky now, since I know Lewis got to lead us off with that last banger. Lucky.
Yeah, I mean, this is worth $70, guys, if I've ever seen it. We got a guy that lost to Jerome Rivera in Contender Series, a guy Ode Osborne knocked out in under 30 seconds, beat Dennis Bondar. I mean, to quote Chael Sonnen, okay, great. Osborne has a win over Charles Johnson. That's aged pretty well. All of his other results for me are middling at best. Some of them aging a little bit poorly, losing record in the promotion. Lost 2 in a row, but to good fighters. But, he's been finished in 6 out of his 7 losses. And I just kind of feel like that's why he's here. Mexican Independence Day. I think they're chucking Rodriguez, someone they think he can dispose of. And apparently Rodriguez has got a ton of Instagram followers, man. I did not know that. I guess all the hard work he was doing in Lux has really paid off in Mexico. So, yeah, I think this could be the last of Ode here. And I'm really not that high on Rodriguez, to be completely honest with you. But I think Ode might kind of be cooked at this level. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Rodriguez. I feel like they are angling for an inside the distance win for Rodriguez to kick off the main card here.
Yeah, and I'll just answer Billy's question. He can't win a decision, because if he does, they're going to fire him anyways. Like, that's as good as a loss for Ode. He's going to have to go back to teaching. So I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. And shout out to 21 in the building. Appreciate y'all. Gordo, what's your thoughts on this fight?
I think it's a fun one. And although it's not one that is maybe pay-per-view opening quality, it's one that I do think can entertain the fans or the screens or whatever they have there at the Sphere. I don't really know at this point, but a fight that I do think could bring some entertainment. I think if we take a step back and if we look at someone who, in Rodriguez, the nickname Lazy Boy doesn't really suit him too well. He's a guy who I think is just more of a warrior. He'll push through the fire. He's not the most technical fighter, but he'll push a heavy pace. He's got good cardio. He's got durability. He'll eat a few shots and he'll look to make you quit. And he's facing a guy in Ode Osborne who, frankly, but we've seen quit a couple times. So I think if we could load both these fighters into a game of UFC 5 and control them, I think Ode Osborne's a better technical striker. I think he's the better technical fighter as a whole. And I think he does have better pure wrestling, shall it come down to it. But he makes too many mistakes on the mat. He's a guy whose heart isn't always in it, a guy who can be finished, and whose cardio has also been a question. So if you're pairing all that up against someone in Rodriguez who will go forward, who will look to break you, who will survive all this damage and push a hellacious pace, I'm not too sure Osborne can go out there to sustain it for too long. Now, do I believe that Rodriguez is a fighter who should be a minus 150, 160 favorite against one of the better fighters he's fought? Probably not. So I don't know if I'll get there. But at the end of the day, I do lean towards Rodriguez being able to break Osborne, get a later finish. If the domestic books open up some decent round 3 props, maybe I'll take it. But I do think his style incites violence, incites chaos, and that hasn't really been something that Ode Osborne thrives in too much, especially in those later rounds.
Yeah, well said, well said. I'm not a big round 3 better, but I will get on a round 3 Rodriguez bet in this fight. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this one?
Gordo said it perfectly, man. I can't say it much better. Like, I think it's going to be a violent fucking fight, and I think the UFC kind of like showed their hand by putting this on the main card. A guy that's like a kind of sort of flying under the radar, but it has a ton of followers at the same time. And O'Day's like an exciting fighter, and he's offensively, he can crack, but he can kind of slip on banana peels too. And I kind of feel like, oh, this will be an exciting fight that O'Day will probably come out on the losing end of, and the Mexican dude will get a nice like highlight reel finish. And I kind of think that's what happens. I think it's like an exciting fight, like fight of the night candidate, and it's like inside the distance for Ronaldo. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. No bet though, because like O'Day, like Gordo said, like he's probably one of the better dudes he's fought, and yeah, I can't really like lay chalk. It's not that chalky, but I still don't want to bet that side. I'll just pass and say Ronaldo gets a finish.
And I love you, Nora, but these are not two new people to the panel. These are two old people back to the panel, returning to the panel. Gordo gambles, if you don't know. And up top, Norton MMA, Lewis, who is going to finish us off on this fight. Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, being 18 fights into your career and O'Day Osborne is going to be the best person you fought just shows how padded your record really is as well. That is insane to me. If you look through the list of people he ever fought, like for the first 10 fights, they were basically 1-0, 0-1 for majority of the fights. Now, O'Day, in my opinion, is a quitter. And that's a horrible thing to say, really, about someone. But every time he has an escape, he takes it. And he has got some skills. He is technical. He's had some really good performances. And he's one of those people where you're like, it's not going to be O'Day's day. And then all of a sudden he just turns up. And it's really fucking annoying because it's bitten me in the past for sure. Mm-hmm. Much like your McDessie bet from you mentioned earlier. It's one of those sort of things. But I think this is set up for Ronaldo to win here. Like, they're not going to put him on this card. It is another padded record fight for me. It's just something they can just throw. It's the worst person in the UFC they can throw him, basically. And they're probably looking to get rid of O'Day out of his contract. They need an excuse, I'm assuming. That isn't too political. So, yeah, I think Ronaldo, I don't know how. In my opinion, it could be any way. It could be decision. Most likely not. It's going to be a finish, but he could do whatever he wants to, in my opinion, to O'Day Osborne. He's not that good either. I agree with Gordo on that. He's not impressed me at all. Yeah. But that's how low I rate O'Day, sadly.
Yeah, and O'Day getting to 32, 33 at 125. This is a brutal cut for him to get down to this still at this point. He hasn't made it that many times. It's one of these guys who he's getting older in his career and cutting down to 125, I think, too late also. So, yeah, we're all on Ronaldo here, minus
He has nailed it, by the way. It's Mick in the chat. He's a Jamaican Cameron Ellis. That's pretty much it.
I mean, Cameron Ellis cost me a hefty bet in the last fight in Cage Warriors. I paid him big time, and he cost me. So, fuck you, Cameron Ellis. But
absolutely,
it's all
absolutely.
Good. Yeah, minus 142 to Ronaldo, plus 120. This is when O'Day Osborne's the best fight in your 19th fight of your career, though. That is frightening. All right, lightweight fight next. One that I'm having a little bit of a harder time getting a good read on, if I'm being honest, and mostly because Esteban Rivavitz is a guy I'm just not quite sure on yet. Daniel Zellhuber, looking good since the fight against Trey Ogden, where he just kind of just did not pull the trigger. I think since then he's learned, I think, kind of from the loss. I think the benefit of a loss in MMA a lot of times ends up making a fighter better. So Huber's very, very tough. He's a good, well-rounded fighter. He's going to have a much larger frame than Rivavitz here, and I think he's the more diverse striker also, and I just think he's overall maybe sharper in MMA. But at the same point, there's just something about Rivavitz. I can't quite get a read on how good he is. I'm not quite sure how he'll deal with a bigger lightweight here, or one of the biggest lightweights in Daniel Zellhuber, and I think it will give him problems with the frame, and I think eventually frustrates Rivavitz, and maybe a club and sub here for Zellhuber. I'm not really sure. I'm glad I have 4 other people to talk with me about this fight, because right now I have Zellhuber by submission, but I'm not really sure why. Gordo, I'm sure that you're going to help me out here a little bit. Is it Gordo or Lucky? Lucky, sorry, Lucky is starting out here. I apologize. Gordo, I'm losing track. Gordo,
That's okay, man. I wouldn't mind hearing what Lucky is, but I guess I'll wait a bit for that. But
Yeah.
no, this is a very interesting fight. One that maybe shouldn't be on the greatest pay-per-view event of all time, but still an interesting one. And maybe later in their career when they have some more success, you could put them up there. But it was interesting for me to see this fight as one of the ones in the UFC Noche card, considering how they're still pretty fresh in their career and stuff like that. But taking a look at this matchup, I do think we have the all-action guy, Ribovic, a guy who averages 6.2 strikes per landing per minute, a guy who is very aggressive, coming off that highlight reel knockout that I was fortunate enough to see in St. Louis, a guy who is very dangerous, but a guy who is that more like action-packed style, right? He wants to go out there and win the moments. He doesn't have the most defensive capabilities. He wants to go out there and take your head off, and in doing so, he can be taken down. He can be hit in his own right, and a guy who is just more so that entertainment factor. Zell Huber, I think, is a better technical fighter, right? We look at his fight against Ogden, and personally, I throw that one out. I don't know if that was UFC jitters or if Trey Ogden is really that good. He's not. But a guy in Zell Huber who I just think maybe succumbed a bit to the big lights, and now that he's kind of settled in his own, we've seen that he's a pretty good fighter. He's very good at managing range, good in and out movement, good technicality, good ability to hit the mark here, and I do think he's a fighter who is the better minute winner, better optics here than a guy in Ribovic. Now, does Ribovic have the power to win minutes or moments, and potentially rounds? Maybe, but I do think Zell Huber is just the guy who's able to win the technical striking, able to win the optics from the outside, and the pace at which this fight is fought, I do think is a guy who has the cardio to sustain it. Both these guys are extremely durable, and I do think it's one that does get extended. So in an extended fight, I do favor the Mexican fighter here in Zell Huber, a guy who I think is the better technical fighter of all of them, a guy who can potentially mix in the wrestling as well and just have the in and out movement to have success here against Ribovic. Zell Huber's only plus 130 to win by decision. It's not the best line, so I'm not going to get involved in that, but that does tell you that I do agree with the books here. I do think that's how he gets it done. I do think he has the wrestling to potentially take down a guy in Ribovic who is so he goes forward with reckless abandon, let's put it that way, and he overswings and he can be taken down. So if Zell Huber goes that route, I think he can win minutes that way too. I think it's a fun, high-paced fight because of the style Ribovic brings, but I think Zell Huber's able to get the better of it and win the minutes that way.
Fair enough. 2 cents. What do you think about this one?
Again, man, Gordo covering it perfectly. I parlayed Zell Huber, and I think it's Ribovic is powerful. He's an explosive striker, but so is fucking Francisco Prado, and I just don't rate his wins, dude. Cam Wellakirk is a fucking jobber. If you gave Zell Huber McKinney, he'd make a fucking meal out of him too. So I don't really rate that much. He's going to have a reach advantage. He's going to be the better striker. I just think he gives him a fucking pasting, maybe even knocks him out. But yeah, give me Zell Huber here. He's not going to lose a decision at Noche. So yeah, give me the Mexican prospect who's probably going to be getting better fight to fight, man. He's kind of been looking like it, honestly. He's only 25. So yeah, give me Zell Huber here. Already parlayed him too. So yeah, biased, but.
I feel like me and Mick kind of going through the same thing here. I'm just worried. I don't know why I'm worried about this Zell Huber. It feels too good to be true to just. It feels like a free Zhongli leg here, but
it wouldn't be the first time that what's his name Ribovic has lost to someone that lost to fucking Trey Ogden. He lost to Loic, a little bit of a jobber himself, who also lost to Trey Ogden just recently. So I don't think the Ogden loss is that bad either, honestly.
Yeah, I really don't. I that was his first fight in the UFC, and I get it. But Lewis, what do you think about these two guys?
Well, I rate both guys, but I rate Zell Huber a hell of a lot less than 2 cents does. But I want to be proven wrong. I think he's very good, and he's a lot better than Ribovic. But piecing him up, knocking him out, he could, as long as he uses the reach. He has to use that reach advantage because Ribovic is going to come. He's a very fast starter, and he knows how to get inside. That's the main thing. He's got one of the shorter reaches for the division,
right?
Compared to Zell Huber, so he's facing it every time anyway. It could look like the opening of kind of like Chandler and Hooker, where people thought, Hooker's just going to piece him out on the outside, step away, and then all of a sudden one lunging left hook and he's down. He cuts the corner off. So it could easily end up like that. Ribovic has got a good win. He's a very fast starter. He's very heavy-handed. I haven't seen Zell Huber tested that much, from the because he's so good defensively as well. I think he's very good. He's improving massively. I think you're safe with a Zell Huber bet, personally. And I hope 2 cents proves everyone right and himself with how good he's going to get to, because you just hyped him up for me where I'm thinking, is Ribovic shit? looking around the corner. What have I been looking at? Because he's pretty fucking good to me.
I thought he was pretty good too. That's kind of, I don't know.
I rate Thomas Paul. Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I made that mistake too. It's okay. We've all made our errors.
I love Thomas Paul. I used to train with Thomas, so it's nice.
Yeah. God, Thomas Paul.
Yeah.
He's not listening, obviously. That's bad. All right, Lucky Rocks. All right, now Lucky. On to you.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ribovic, man. I think he's a ton of fun. He's a savage. I think it's kind of a tough matchup. I think it's a good fight between two good prospects. I think Zellhuber's a little bit better than him. You know, he's bigger. He's got a massive reach advantage. It's just hard for me to want to get behind a big price on Zellhuber because, I don't know, I find myself wanting for more urgency out of him at times. And when I'm watching him, I was like, it seems like he kind of misses a lot, honestly. You know, the Ogden fight, I felt like he was missing a lot. Venata, I felt like he was missing a lot. Yagos, I felt like he was missing constantly. And I went to the stats, and yeah, he's only put up an accuracy percent, you know, over 40% once in his career. And obviously he attempts tons of strikes. But I don't know, there's just something about him that I find myself asking for a little bit more. Ribovic doesn't really give me that feeling. He kind of just goes out to do the business. But yeah, I think Zellhuber is just a little bit more skilled, has some physical advantages, and you know, I think he probably wins this fight. So I'm gonna go with Daniel Zellhuber as well.
Well said, and yeah, I'm also considering the pass on this one. We'll see. I am still concocting the Zhongli as we speak here, but yeah, we're gonna move on. I didn't miss anybody. All right, good. I just wanted to make sure. All right, moving on to fantastic fight that has been rebooked. I'm still very excited to find out about this one with regards to if Brian Ortega is going to last at 145 much longer or not against Diego Lopez, obviously everybody's favorite up-and-coming fighter at this weight class besides myself and another one of the panelists at least, but I will not spoil that for now. For me, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time here. My pick was Ortega in the first fight. Now that this fight has been rebooked, basically because of Ortega's choice of not wanting to fight the first time around on short notice, and Diego Lopez saying, I'll just fight you whenever you want. Maybe that ends up being proven, wow, he should be very confident. I think that this is a levels fight to me, and Ortega is not a level that I believe Diego Lopez is on at this point and maybe won't ever be on. I'm not sold on Diego Lopez as much as everybody else, I guess is what I'm saying here. I think Ortega is going to be much stronger in this fight, and I believe he gets on top of Lopez and ends up submitting Lopez somewhere along the way here. But I think the first round or two, I could see this fight being competitive on the feet. Diego could spark him early on and put him away and make that statement, but I don't see that happening. I think Ortega takes this one, and I have him by submission. So give me Ortega round 2 submission in this one. There's levels to this, and I think the time off did not benefit Ortega, as in I think it helped Ortega. And no USADA, I'm looking forward to seeing how he looks in there. 2 cents.
Well, shit, let's make it 2 in a row. I'm glad you didn't spoil it, but yeah, I've kind of spoiled it for myself already. Yeah, T-City is my dog this week. And yeah, I think, like you said, it's a levels fight. Diego Lopez, he's been on a nice little run, but it's just not the level of guys that Brian Ortega has been fighting. And I just don't think he's fucking washed. Everyone's like, he got fucking rocked by Yair. And it's like, dude, Yair's striking is clearly improved. And Yair is just fighting at a higher level. Like Dan Ige, dude, he got pretty much handled by the Korean Zombie. Like in a fight where the fight before that, like Chan, he got made to look like he didn't belong in the fucking octagon with Brian Ortega. Mm-hmm. And it just he's still on the right side of 35, and like, dude, Diego Lopez is not about to fight for it. Like if he beats Brian Ortega, then yeah, sure, I'll throw my hands up and say whatever. Like he's on that level, but he just hasn't shown that to me. Dan Ige is not on Ige's level, and neither is Brian Ortega, and neither is Diego Lopez. So yeah, I think Brian Ortega shows him the fucking difference here. So yeah, let's go T-City. Bet him at +150. Let's go.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Lewis, I've been excited to hear your thoughts on this one. I haven't gotten to talk to you about the rise of Diego Lopez either. So another fight.
No, it's impressive. He's good. He's very good. And
Yes.
if you're ranking like the champion at a 10 and the bottom feeders as a 1, he's a good 6 at the moment, I would say. And I would say Brian Ortega is a heavy 8 to 9. Like Brian Ortega is so fucking good. I think people forget when someone doesn't fight for a while how good they really are. Yair is unbelievably skilled. Like he's so good. The fact he nearly killed Volkanovski, nearly ripped his head off. Like people forgetting that very quickly as well. The beating.
I was there live for that shit. I was there live.
Man, like and it's not just like he's obviously better on the ground. Brian, there's not many people that can fuck with Brian on the ground. Not many. But his striking is very underrated as well. Yeah, I know he got pieced up by Max, and Max taught him how to box in a fight. But he is unbelievably good at striking as well. It's just the people he's fighting against striking-wise in this division are some of the best strikers I've ever fucking seen in Holloway and Yair. Like, they're just ridiculous. Will Diego be able to compete with him on the feet? Yes. I think it'll be quite even on the feet. I think the cardio and the pace of Diego will help a lot. I think where it becomes Brian's fight is killer instinct. When he sees an opening, you're dead. He's got you. You think of the transitions against Cub against the fence, where he gets his neck and then just switches arms. It's just the ability to finish a fight is all with Brian in my head. And he probably is looking to prove a point. Like, there's a new young guy coming up. Let's just get him out of the way and get back on track. The only thing I'm worried about is the weight and getting down to that weight, because Brian never like smoothly gets down to the weight either. It's always a bit of, and he's getting older, and that's the only thing I can think of that is the reason I wouldn't pick Brian in this. And now seeing, I didn't know he was an underdog coming into this. That's mad to me. The fact that that's absolutely mental to me. So yeah, I mean, I'm on Brian all day. I'm a big fan of Brian. So I like Diego. I hope he does good. I'm with 2 cents where he's just, I don't think he's that level. But if he proves me wrong, awesome. Then we got another new guy coming up and smoking people. So I just don't think he will.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about this one the closer we're getting to it for the second time. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we broke this down for 303. If you want like my big long-winded one, you can go look that video up. I feel pretty much the same way. I think Ortega is the side. I just don't see where Lopez is significantly more skilled than him. I feel like grappling, we'll go ahead and call that a wash. And then striking wise, I mean, on paper, Ortega, he puts out more volume. He successfully defends against strikes at a much higher clip. I mean, I think he's pretty underrated boxing. And look, Lopez, he hits harder. Yeah. Is he faster? Yeah. He's younger. He's more athletic. But I don't know if he's looking too hot if we see around 2 and 3 here. And Ortega's not an easy guy to get out of there in 5 minutes. We've seen how durable he is.
Yeah.
He gave me a heart attack because I bet on him against Yair in the last fight. So eventually that durability is, he's going to get hit one of these days and it's not going to be there. But, I don't know, man. I like the Ortega side as well. Mexican Independence Day. I'll take the Mexican American in Ortega here.
Yes,
at the dog price, it's Ortega that's providing the value here, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Are we going to have a clean sweep on Brian Ortega with 5 panelists? Gordo.
Well, that's a lot of pressure to throw on me here like that, man. You know what? Last time this fight was booked, I ended up picking Ortega with you guys. And you know what? I'm very tempted to do so again. The line being the way it is, I do agree he's being a bit underrated in the spot. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't pick Lopez in my own breakdown. And I'm not here to lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
This is a spot where I completely understand the spot on Ortega. Yes, he's underrated. And yes, Lopez still has a lot to prove. And I have been a bit harder on a guy in Lopez. But I'm not sure what to make with this whole Ortega thing. Maybe I'm looking too into it. The weight cut, the media day pictures he's putting out for this week. The guy seems to have a little bit of issues going on with himself. And what I'm seeing in the difference between the two of them is Ortega is the type of guy to go out there and potentially have some issues going on with himself. Whereas Lopez is the type of guy to be like, yeah, I'll fight anybody on short notice. And yeah, it's Dan Ige. Yes, you're going to go out there and have a better chance to go out there and beat him. But in the past time since breaking down this fight, I've seen Lopez at least go out there and compete in the striking. He closes distance very fast. He doesn't have that same jab or minute winning ability like Ortega, but he explodes into punches and he puts a lot into it. And that can win moments, that can win optics that way too. And I think between the youth, the athleticism, the explosiveness, in a very, very close fight. I do slightly lean towards Lopez here. Not to the point where I'm going to bet him at chalk, but if you're asking for my honest gun to my head opinion, I'm picking Diego Lopez in a very, very close matchup. Do not fault anybody for taking the plus money on Ortega, though.
Yep, fair enough. And I am always asking for your honesty, everybody. So I appreciate that very much. 150 plus 155 minus 185 to Diego Lopez. So yeah.
Can I ask what was Dan Igue's how long did he get to train for that fight against Lopez as well?
17 minutes.
3 hours.
About
and
15
Lopez
minutes.
couldn't. I just thinking like Lopez couldn't do enough damage to him to put him away or anything like that. That's all I'm thinking of with the explosivity. You know.
Yeah. Very fair point. Cheeky from Lewis there. I love it. He's already back to fine form here on the breakdown. Now I am very happy with how the fight has been set up here because if you're not familiar, Lewis is, I believe, the biggest Valentina Shevchenko fan on the planet. So it's been a rough year for old pal here. Maybe that's why he hasn't shown up on a breakdown in a while because it's been a while since there's been a Valentina win. But these two, they fought twice, same as the first two. Now we're back for another one here. Can Alexa Grasso do it again? Personally, I am not betting this one in any shape or form. I want to just sit back and watch two of the best at 125 who match up very well here. And I will take the plus money here if I had to in Valentina Shevchenko. But it's very well we could see gloves in the middle of the octagon after this one, especially if she loses. And betting against Alexa Grasso on Mexican Independence Day seems wrong. So I'm not betting this one. So I'm just taking Alexa Grasso. I'm taking her to win by decision. Lewis, tell me why I'm wrong.
You're right. I'm going Grasso.
Oh.
I know. It goes against everything. It's a head and heart thing.
It's over. It's over.
It's a head and heart thing for me massively. Now, there's nothing that I've seen in Valentina's last few fights. Like I thought Grasso won the last one.
Yeah.
And she choked her. And before that, now we always discuss Valentina's win against Santos because you are adamant that she absolutely lost. I'm like I would have scored that like quite like maybe a draw. If you had to pick someone, I would have probably picked Santos as well. So the decline of my favorite fighter has come, and it come Mother Time is unbeaten, and I think this is just one of those moments where, as much as she wants that win back, and she is still unfucking believably good, I think Grasso like crossed that line of where she actually became the champ. Like she knows she's the champ now. She knows she has her number. It's still going to be it's going to be so hard for her to manage this still. Like she makes this one slip up and Shevchenko's on her. Mm-hmm. But I think it's a head and heart thing. I have to go with Grasso on this one because she's proven she can do it multiple times now at such a ridiculously high level. She's going to have everyone on her side for that. I know people love Valentina, but if it's a Mexican thing, come on. But also, can I ask, obviously England here, don't understand, why is it not in Mexico?
Because there's not a sphere in Mexico, man, and a sphere is a very.
But why make this a Mexican theme?
A sphere is a very important shape in Mexican culture. I don't want to explain it here on the breakdown.
Saudi money talks and bullshit walks is the best I can put it.
But yeah, I think.
Does
who versus who I think is going to win is very different. I think it's going to be razor close. It's going to be like a 49-48 either way, but I think Grasso is going to win, and I don't want to say that again, so I'm going to move on.
Fair enough. I am very surprised by that.
I'm going to cry in a minute, so yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have really sold out. Honesty is the best policy, though. Lucky.
Yeah, trilogy fight here. I think Val was hard done by in the last fight. Ruled a draw due to the fact that a judge gave Grasso a 10-8 in round 5, and I'll speak for myself and say I don't really think that was the correct score, and if it had been scored a 10-9, Valentina wins the fight on the card. So, Shevchenko goes from -800 in the first fight, -170 favorite in the second fight. And would have won that fight on the cards if it weren't for an errant 10-8 scorecard in the 5th round. Now she's an even money underdog after, essentially winning the last one. Now the concern, obviously, age, and it's also Mexican Independence Day, so there's a big narrative on the Grasso side. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be unpopular, but I got to go Valentina here. I feel like she's got the better ability to mix in grappling here. The fight's been booked 3 times now, and if you include the current line for this fight, Valentina's average line in these 3 matchups is around -180. You're getting the best price yet. She's the dog. It's hard for me not to gravitate towards the Shevchenko side here, to be honest, unpopular as it may be. It kind of feels like when I picked against Urseg in his hometown in the last pay-per-view, but it paid off. So, it feels wrong. It feels dumb. I'm probably not going to actually bet it, but, I got to go with my gut, and my gut's telling me that Valentina's going to ride again.
Man, imagine that parlay of Ortega and Valentina, how good that would feel, getting both at plus money there. And hindsight, if that hits. Gordo, what's your thoughts on third time of these two?
Yeah, no, lucky buddy. You hit everything I had to say. I had a checklist of stuff I had to say, and it was all right there. I am someone who's on Valentina here this week, and I'm not afraid to say it. All right, I'm on her, and I do think she's able to have success here. I love Grasso. She's a younger fighter, a good-looking girl. I don't fault anybody for taking her, but you know what? There are reasons why there was a favorite price tag of Valentina, and I'm still struggling to comprehend why the lines drop so much. And the only thing I'll add to what Lucky said is not only is she an even underdog, she's plus 120 and climbing at some spots here, right? In a fight that she should have won. Grasso did not win that fight. She got lucky to draw it. And Shevchenko not only having the ability to compete with her in the striking, but mix in the takedowns, being at this level for so long. It's a spot that, man, having Valentina Shevchenko at an implied probability of where she is right now is just unfair for the fact that they fought 4 rounds together. And I'd say Valentina's won at least. Sorry, they've won. She fought 9 rounds together. I think Valentina's won at least 6 of them, maybe 7. Like truth be told, is she's won many of these rounds. But not only she sealed it with the grappling, but she's competed in the striking. Yeah, she's getting up there in age. She's getting older, but she still has the tools. I think she has a more versatile skill set. I think she wins this fight. The only reason I'm not betting it, aside from potential little cold streak, is potentially maybe because the judging is the way it is, where it is. Sorry, I just don't know if I have it into me to get screwed again. I think I had 3 units last time on Shevchenko, and I didn't cash it, even though I thought she won that fight fair and square. I don't know, man. Maybe it's some PTSD, but I do think Valentino should not be an underdog here, and I'm willing to stand by that.
Very, very good points. Interesting fight, and very interested to see where my friend 2 cents lands on this one.
Another just comprehensive breakdown, not one that I can add a ton to. I went back and watched the second fight. It was a great fight. Yeah, the 5th round shouldn't have been a 10-8. I'm not 100% sure that Valentina won the 4th round, though. That 4th round was pretty close, and 2 judges gave it to her. So I don't know, man. I just think that was a very splitting hairs here, Donnie kind of fight. I think the fight gets easier for Alexa Grasso with each passing day, with the age thing. That's why I'm going to pick her. But the shit that Lucky and Gordo say, and shout out to Billy, the stuff that he said yesterday, I was kind of thinking, I should put Grasso in the parlay. He's like, no, dude, I'm not fucking doing that. I was like, all right, God. But no, I think I get it, man. Getting Valentina at plus money, I get it. So I'm staying right the fuck off of it. But yeah, I'll pick Grasso for the show.
Yep, I'm picking Grasso, not betting at -135 plus 115 and rising for Valentina here. So very good. I'll watch them fight another time if Valentina doesn't retire, but she probably will if she loses. All right, main event time. Marat Devashvili finally gets his, and we've all been waiting a long time for this title shot. We're all very excited. We want the Marat era to begin, don't we? Taking on Sean O'Malley here, which, I've got to admit it, Sean O'Malley has definitely proved me wrong multiple times at this point and improved a lot. And I think in this fight, I bet O'Malley at plus money a few weeks ago, and I just have failed to, kind of see how Marat ends up winning this fight besides being Marat, which is spamming the takedowns within 30 seconds of every round and getting on top and staying on top. I do think that this is what O'Malley has kind of been preparing for with his game since he's gotten into the UFC. He's known that this is where I think he's going to be most likely exploited within the wrestling. I do believe his takedown defense and distance management in the large octagon will be good enough. And I think he could easily crack Merab inside the first round, inside the first couple rounds, and end up putting him away with some sort of counter shot, maybe even a knee on a takedown in the second round as it gets more desperate. I don't think Murat is ever going to be a champion, and I don't know. If you're picking up Murat by Murating, then correct, or congratulations, I should say, not correct, hopefully. But I do think O'Malley is just massively more athletic and dynamic, and I think that his footwork and overall distance management in this fight will end with a KO for Sean O'Malley. So I like Sean by KO. I'll be betting it on top of my money line bet. Lucky, what's your thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this fight. A lot of narratives and rumors swirling around with, Murat having staph. Obviously, he had the cut. People are saying O'Malley back injury. Even that's floating around. So, yeah, we also know that the UFC does not like Merab. They did not like the way he and Aljo refused to fight each other. Dana obviously really didn't like how open he was about posting his cut and taking the stitches out with, the scissors that we were using in school. And then, they love O'Malley on the other hand, right? And we keep hearing about this O'Malley and Umar fight that they want to make down the line. And as much as people are saying O'Malley, he can't sell a card by himself, I can't really disagree too much, but it's because a lot of his fans are on the younger side, like my age or younger. A lot of my friends that don't watch UFC are like, oh, O'Malley's fighting? Yeah, I want to watch that. He's the guy that all the casuals know. It feels like, at least in my circles. And he is one of the biggest names in the organization. He's the biggest name at 135 by a lot. Way, way bigger than Merab in terms of name value. And also way bigger than him physically as well. And even more narrative talk here. Mexican Independence Day card. Neither one of these guys are Mexican, but O'Malley, his wife is Mexican. His daughter is half Mexican. He lives in Arizona. So I think he's got the closer connection. But anyway, back to the actual fight. Yeah, I think Merab's win condition is kind of grappling relentlessly to a decision. And I think truly his finishing equity is pretty low here. And I think on the feed, it's going to be all O'Malley. And people are going to talk about Merab's cardio. O'Malley can do his thing for 25 minutes too. And in the event of a decision here, I just don't feel like judges are going to value cage push and control time a whole lot. And, Merab really doesn't hold people down super well. He doesn't pass guard super well. And I think it's an honest question to ask, in the pure jiu-jitsu game. O'Malley, he's a brown belt under a good professor. I think it's close, right, to be honest, in that realm. And, I think O'Malley could be winning rounds with a few flurries because Merab just doesn't do a lot of damage. And, I doubt he's going to have a lot of success at range. So, against Piotr Jan plus 280 something, I was on O'Malley. Plus 200 against Sterling. I bet O'Malley there too. I laid the chalk on him, minus 200 against Marlon Vera. And I was expecting to be here I'll play O'Malley at a dog price, but become the favorite, man. And it feels like everybody's picking him now. Yeah. Everybody on Tapology, you go on Bet MMA, everybody's got an O'Malley ticket posted on there. So I don't know, man. It's feeling a little bit sketchy. I'm not going to bet this fight because, I made my hay on O'Malley. I made a ton of money on his come up, and I'm just going to watch this one as a fan. But yeah, I guess for a pure pick, I'm going to go with O'Malley for the reasons that I mentioned: stylistics, optics. He's a younger guy, bigger name. So
right.
I'll go with O'Malley, but it's feeling sketchy, man. It's feeling pretty sketchy, in my opinion.
Well broken down. And yeah, I apologize, Gordo. Next time I'll have you lead off after me so you can have a little bit of scraps on the plate here. But what are your thoughts on this main event?
That's all good, man. I'm not too bullish on either side, if I'm being honest. I think it's a phenomenal stylistic matchup. I think you can make a case for both sides. And I think to allude to what Lucky was saying, it's Everyone's telling me it's like, oh my God, you're going to watch the Sugar Sean O'Malley fight this weekend? It's like, they're not telling me like, hey, you're going to go see UFC Noche. You're going to go see the Sean versus Merab. It's like, you're going to go watch Sugar this weekend, right? And it's like that with Pereira. It's like that with Sean. Like those are the two big names that a lot of the people who aren't the biggest MMA fans, but still want to be interested in it are the casuals, as one would say. So I think he's a very big name. And I think because of that, when I was first thinking of this fight, first doing the tape for it, it's pretty simple. It's like, Merab gets rocked by the left hook. Sean O'Malley lands a ton of damage. He's pretty elusive. He's going to have the opportunity to land that powerful shot. He's going to have the opportunity to be the better striker and knock him out. I can't wait to get good plus money on it. Yeah, no, you're not. It seems to be what everybody's picking this week. It seems to be a very popular option. And I think that things change a lot. I expected Sean O'Malley to be the underdog in this matchup, but now that we have evens, it's very interesting because not only do we have evens, is the money's coming in on Sean, and now Merab's the underdog. And I think it makes for a very interesting battle. It's so hard to go out there and pick Merab to go out there because it's like he's going to go out there and his win condition is landing a ton of takedowns and winning that decision. But at the same time, the reason why Aljo was out there at such a large favorite over O'Malley was because he was supposed to control him as well. Now, Merab doesn't have that same control, but he still has that same relentless grappling pace. It seems a spot where I'm a bit baffled by the line movement. Now, in, again, complete honesty, I am a primary DraftKings player. I'm playing a ton of Merab because his style translates well to DraftKings. He scores very, very well, a ton of takedowns. Not very good control, but a lot of takedowns. That does work out good that way, so I did end up picking him there. But I'm truly on the fence. I'm truly 50-50. I think it's probably either a Sean counter KO or a Merab decision, and for that reason, I could be convinced either way. I did pick Merab for DraftKings purposes, so I'll stick with my guns there. But a truly 50-50 fight that I do not think I'll have any monetary involvement in, and I'll just sit back and enjoy.
Fair enough. I got Sean at plus 110 a few weeks ago, and yeah,
Nice.
I'll live with it. 2 cents. What's your thoughts on this very good main event?
On paper, I think this is a really good fight. If it goes Merab's way and he ends up winning, it is going to be the lamest fucking shit you've ever seen. I don't know, man. I as far as the line movement, I can't really speak to it. I'm not very smart when it comes to that stuff, but I will say that I just think that Sean should have been the outright favorite. Like, I think the line is right now. I'll just say that. I think, with the champion, he's proven that against a dude that can grapple really well in Aljo, who I think is a little bit more dangerous of a sub-grappler, honestly, than Merab. Like, Merab's a wrestler, and the reason he gets a shit ton of takedowns is because, like Lucky said, he can't hold people down for shit, and he doesn't really pass guard. He just fucking takes them down. They get up, mat return, rinse and repeat, whatever the fuck. But, yeah, O'Malley's going to have too many chances. I just think Sean walks him onto something nasty. He's too good of a counter striker, and he's too accurate, and Merab just gets clipped too much. Like, I think he either walks onto a step in knee, an uppercut, a pull counter, something. Like, I just think O'Malley's too dangerous, and Merab, like, I think O'Malley's like the fact that he's lanky is gonna be a problem too for Merab. I could see him, like, I can't remember who was talking about O'Malley's. Might have been Lewis talking about his sub game or his grappling game. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, on one of these like takedown attempts, because Merab's gonna fucking shoot him, I wouldn't be surprised if Sean, like, wrapped him up in a front choke, or we see some front choke series action from O'Malley. But it might have been Lucky, I can't remember, man. But anyways, yeah, I think O'Malley is just a little bit better of a fighter. Merab's a better wrestler or grappler, but I just think Sean's the better fighter. He's the champion. I think him being the underdog was not like crazy, but a little bit off. So I think the line is right now. I did parlay Sean, but yeah, I think the champ gets it done too. And still, let's go.
All right, bring us home, Lewis, on a hell of a breakdown. Bring us home.
Yeah. I think everyone's combined thoughts are just so accurate for this fight. Merab is exceptional at takedowns. Can't hold you down. We've established that. As long as Sean can have a deterrent in there to make Merab hesitate with the takedowns, if he just allows him to get him continuously, then it's just going to be another Piotr Jan, Jose Aldo kind of fight where it's just frustrating Sean. But the difference, I think, is what 2 Cents said, is the counter striking of Sean. The way he can just spin it and he can pivot his hips, he can put you on the back foot, he can put you on the cage, unload his shots, and then just back off. He knows when to back off. He knows when to go for the kill shots. I think he's too good to kind of get frustrated, even if he does get taken down and loses a round, because Merab doesn't have to win all 5 rounds. He has to win 3 rounds. That's all he has to do for his style. He just has to grind out that 3 rounds. He will get hit. He will get hit a lot. Merab. Does Sean have the capability to finish Merab? I don't actually know, because yes, he could knock him out. He could, but that means Merab's going to have to leave himself extremely vulnerable, which I don't think he'll do either. I think he's finally got his opportunity where he's actually going to be a bit smarter in when he decides to go in for the takedowns, because he knows he could probably take Sean down. Whether he knows he can hold him down is a different matter. Sean's ground game is not seen very often, but he competes a lot in grappling competitions. He's a very good grappler. He's a different kind of grappler to Merab. He's more of an MMA-based grappler, which is why I think he'll be absolutely fine. I think if he gets taken down by Merab, you'll see him getting straight back up, a few shots, back to controlling the distance, poking him down. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of teeps, a lot of front kicks, trying to slow the gas tank of Merab down, stuff like that. He's immediately, I guarantee, the first couple minutes of the first round, you're going to see Sean landing some calf kicks. He will be slowing him down in whatever way he can, because Merab's cardio. He's a cardio machine. But I agree. I think Sean's just going to... I think Sean by decision, personally. I think he'll just outclass him on the feet. I don't think he'll put him away, but I do think he'll win.
Fair enough. Very, very good fight. Very good breakdown there as well. And yeah, I mean, Sean continues to shift the money in on him. But I was on Sean plus 110, minus 130. No thanks. Plus 110 on Merab now, or Murat. Really quick, I'll go through the Zhongli, and then I'll just go around to the panel. We'll see if anybody has any thoughts or last minute bets that they want to plays they want to mention. And just first and foremost, I want to thank everybody on the panel tonight. I have a tremendous amount of respect for anybody who I have on the show. I only invite people on that I respect, and I respect all 4 of you guys a lot, and I really appreciate what you brought to the breakdown. So shout out to the panel, and shout out to the 20 plus on the chat. You guys have all been great tonight. Zhongli 5 money lines. I don't care about if it should be or shouldn't be. I just pick 5 money lines, need them to be right, and it needs to be plus 4 digits or more. So I did put Yasmin in the Zhongli because we have 10 fights to pick, and I have to put 5 of them in there. So, and we're leading off with 2 women fights because I am putting Norma Dumont in the Zhongli as well. So my Irene Aldana is officially hedged there. So Hoover did make it as well. Brian Ortega and Sean O'Malley plus 1,400 right now. Throw $20 on it, throw 10, whatever you want to throw on it. But we've hit 7 of them on the year. It's already a positive play for the rest of the year. We missed 2 of the last 3 by 1 play. So go ahead and play the Zhongli. If you're not familiar with the Zhongli, just add it to the rotation. No one's too good for it. But that's all I got. Lewis, thank you for making your return after a year plus. The game didn't miss a step. It was great to have you. It's like 4:30 in the morning. We'll be seeing you for the pay-per-views moving forward, though.
Yeah, as long as I can stay awake for them, mate. Yeah, no problem at all.
Again, I told you to look at 307 already, because if you really want to miss 307, I understand. For the main
I'm sure they'll get better. All I can say is I hope Merab doesn't win, because then we've got Merab and Bilal as champions, and it's going to be really like
the true dark ages. But seriously, it's great to talk with you again, man, and thank you for making the time. Seriously,
let's talk with everyone as well. It's been great.
Yeah, you've been awesome. Lucky. Great to have you as always. I've wrangled you back into the breakdown game, I like to think. So any plays that you'd like to point out for any of the MMAs coming up this weekend?
Yeah, well, I'll just say thanks for having me on. Always good to chop it up with you guys. Lewis and Gordo, great to speak with you guys live on air for the first time. A lot of fun. Excuse me. And I've got a frog in my throat now. Sorry.
Emotional. It's an emotional show. I know. I almost got
is.
thanking you guys like I was your dad. I was like, I'm proud of you.
Thinking about, Ode Osborne in the main card. It's just a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have The contrarian over on the first fight of the night, the Raul Rosas fight, over 1.5 plus 110. I think that price is kind of dissipated in most places. I'm seeing still at evens at Pinnacle and Bovada, if you're interested in that. Everywhere else, it looks like it's gone to like minus 105-ish. But yeah, that's all I have. There's an LFA that I'm going to take a look at as well. But as of right now, that's the only bet I got. Thank you guys for having me on, as always. And yeah, good show tonight.
Yeah, man, always great to have you on. We'll finish with our special guest. 2 cents. Thank you. You're not our special guest, 2 cents. Sorry. But 2 cents, you're always special in one way or another.
Yeah, I'm definitely special, all right. Nah, man, Aaron, dude, thank you as always for giving me the link. Gordo, definitely awesome to be on panel with you for the first time. Best of luck to you. Lucky, you know what's up, man. Lucky, if you're not following this guy, you don't know what the fuck is up. He's one of the sharpest dudes around. And Lewis, man, great to be on panel with you again, dude. Hope it's not the last time and it happens again real soon. But shout out to everybody in the chat, and yeah, make sure y'all smash the like button for Aaron. Best of luck, everybody. My only plays so far are Ortega plus 150. And then my parlay is Yasmin Haragi, Zellhuber, and O'Malley for like plus 199. And then I'll be tailing the John Lee. So best of luck, boys. And yeah, thanks again, Aaron. This was a great time.
Simple 2 cents. Always appreciate you as well. And our special guest of the evening. Been too long, Gordo, but I'm a huge fan of you, which is, a very elite group of people at this point. And, seriously appreciate having you on, man. You're always welcome on. And thank you for the info as always. Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's always nice to be on the show, and especially to talk to some new guys. It's nice to meet all you guys. And you know what? The most impressive thing about this is we have a 5-man panel go under an hour and a half. That's impressive, if you ask me. So,
with a ton of information as well. So, I'm pretty proud of this show.
A ton of it, man. It went very, very well. I appreciate the discussion with a lot of them because there are some tricky fights. It was nice to break it down. I personally have nothing locked in yet. I have no bets that I have placed. I'll probably get to the Valentina line, but I have been a little cold, so I'm a little tentative to pull the trigger. Be sure to check out. I do mostly DraftKings content, so if you want that kind of thing, you can check that out. I work for Established the Run over there. So, no, nice to talk. Guys, it should be a fun card. I hope it is the cinematic experience we're all hoping for, but you never know what happens when Ode Osborne's on that main card.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of Ode Osborne mentions here at the end of the show. So if you're drinking every time Ode was mentioned, God rest your liver. But thank you again to everybody on the panel. Thank you to everybody in the chat: Frank, Jimmy, Mick, Alex, Justin, Juan, Jimmy the Drunk, Noah. Moist Audio, I think, was in there back, and everybody else, if I forgot about Juan, Justin, everybody, I probably said you a few times there, and everybody on the panel, thank you. And again, hour and a half for 5 people for a pay-per-view with a lot of information. Go enjoy, and good luck with the MMA this weekend. Peace out, everybody. We'll be back Monday night, Lucky and I, to cover the Contender Series. And shout out to JJ. Peace.